thank you. And I'll ask, are there any announcements?
There are a couple.
There are.
This meeting is being recorded by the recording clerk for purpose of taking minutes. Is there anyone else present who wishes to record the meeting? Seeing none. To the attendees of the meeting, a sign-in sheet is being circulated. The board asks that you please sign in to indicate your attendance at today's meeting. I think that sign is on the table over here. Select board videos. The select board meetings can be viewed by going into the cable videos icon on the homepage of the town website. And our next meeting's on Monday, April 27th. The board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. On Wednesday, April 15th, the board will hold a work session at 12 p.m. Please check the meeting postings on the town website for information to either join via Zoom or for the location of that particular meeting or work session.
A lunch meeting.
I was just added on, like, this morning.
Wednesday at noon? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will now ask if there are any citizens' questions, comments, anything you'd like to get off your chest related to something that's not on the agenda, because we can talk about those things when we get there.
Nobody's got a beef? Wow.
Okay, there are no minutes for review, so we can jump straight into new business and start with the Topsfield Strawberry Festival.
Mr. Chairman, good evening, board. Tonight we have two items related to the Strawberry Festival. It's our annual event that we all know very well. We have representatives from the committee that puts it together. We're very grateful for the work they do and others behind them to make this event possible. It's a very popular event. This year there's some a little bit of a change and some new elements that they'll be incorporating that we're all very excited for. They've been working with our public safety team, and I recognize Captain Dan Bell, who's here tonight, to answer any specific questions as well as we go through these items. With that said, I would turn it over to our guests and you, Mr. Chair, to go through the items on the agenda.
Great, all right, let's start with the liquor license. I guess, what do we need to know?
I'm Larry Lindquist. I'm the treasurer for this Topsfield Historical Society. And this year, since it's the 250th anniversary, we'll have some other new events going on at Strawberry Festival. We thought we'd give it a go to have a beer truck, kind of a beer garden, to enhance the offerings that we have for people. I've seen these kinds of things work very well at places like the Trustees of Reservations, the summer concerts and whatnot. And so to try to have the best chance of success and have a pleasant time, we've partnered with True North Brewery, who has very extensive level of experience around producing these types of activities in a very safe and effective way. And so we're looking forward to doing that, and we'd love to get your approval for the one-day liquor license.
So this is the first time that there's been
Indeed.
beer wine?
It is indeed.
Yes.
And you're actually gonna start serving at 10 a.m.?
I don't really think we expect to have many takers at 10 a.m. They're gonna have to set things up before the roads get closed up and so on, so.
Okay.
Well, you're thirsty?
Can't wait.
I have to sit in a building and count money and do deposits, so I just shouldn't do that.
And eat your shortcake.
Yes, that's right.
I do have a concern if they start at 10, because they may start at 10.
No, I'm not gonna stand in the way of that.
It's noon somewhere, isn't that what they said?
And I think we've had True North come to the homegrown markets. Was it True North?
We had Regiment come, Ipswich Ale has come. I don't believe we worked actually with True North.
I
But
feel like we've done something
I feel like
with True North.
Tespo maybe has
Yeah.
for trunk or
Okay.
treat before.
I know they're familiar with how to do
Yes.
these types of events as referenced through their relationship with the trustees, and they do have a good reputation as well.
I assume that you would put that beer truck over on the lawn of the Gould Barn. Where that's probably where the tent is probably gonna be there like it was last year, and do the hot dogs and stuff there.
We're thinking of moving it slightly to where the parking lot is.
Yeah, okay.
Because we have a colonial reenactment militia, which should be a lot of fun, but they'll be encamped on the lawn.
Ah, okay, I got you.
On the common itself?
No, on the
No,
lawn
on
of the
the
Gould Barn.
Right in
lawn
front of the Gould Barn.
Gould Barn.
Oh,
That's kind of
okay.
the historical component of the festival.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So the beer truck will be on the parking lot.
exactly.
So, I mean, it all looks good to me. The only thing I had questions about is generally, how do we confine it, or how will it be confined so that people aren't just walking all over town with open containers that they got from there?
What we're going to do per the suggestion of the chief of police and his team is make sure there are signs up that say, none shall pass, basically, along the edge of the common and the grounds.
Which edge of the common?
Just along Route 97 and, where it borders a road that's open, basically.
Sam is actually getting the signs for us. You've used them in the past for the homegrown markets.
Yeah.
When they had the beer, they're
Yep.
put up along the edge saying no beer beyond this point.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and, oh, what's that street? That's not Howlett, that's
East
East
Common.
Common. That will be closed, so folks will be walking back and forth to the parking lot.
Yes.
Okay, all right, any concerns, Captain?
We have no concerns whatsoever on the police side of things. We want to thank Mr. Lundquist and Ms. Bermudez for meeting with us, the chief and I, about a month ago. We will shut down East Common, we'll shut down Main Street right up front here, and also have a police presence down there as well for any issues, but which I don't anticipate any at all. And that's what we've done in the past. We've had, we'll shut that down right at 8 o'clock. They have the car show that's going on first thing, so we'll get that shut down for everybody. And then again, having a couple officers out there to make sure that no one's going beyond the commons or beyond that parking lot. But I don't foresee any issues whatsoever.
Well, that's a good point, because I don't think, most people probably wouldn't have any trouble with a beer truck being around, but I think they would have trouble with people walking around drinking a beer on the street and that kind of stuff, so confining it is the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Okay, and thank you for bringing the insurance. That's my go-to question on these things, so. Any other questions?
I have none.
Move to approve the request for a one-day liquor license from the Topsfield Historical Society for the Strawberry Festival on June 13th, 2026, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the parking lots and the grounds of the Parson Capen House, Gould Barn, and Town Commons in Topsfield, Massachusetts. Wine and malt beverages will be served.
Second.
So can I ask one more question? So you have signs,
Wait, I have to say, is there any other discussion?
just one more question.
No.
Dan, North Common Street, you have signs along there as well?
So right at the edge of North Common, that will still be open, so traffic, anyone coming from Howlett can go out that way, but we'll have it stopped right at, or the sign at North Common and East Common.
Yeah.
So essentially, we say about all four corners of the common area will have signage out there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Cool.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you, and don't go anywhere, because I understand there is more to do with the Strawberry Festival.
There is. So, as Larry said, in honor of the 250th, we're having the beer truck, but we're also having a number of other new events and activities that we're bringing there. He mentioned the reenactors. So it's Colonel Bailey's 2nd Regiment that's coming, and they will show people how they used to cook before in the days of old and do different activities. Then they're going to march over to the common and do drills and do musket firing. And then they're going to work with the people if they would like to learn some of the drills. One of the exciting things is that there's an 11-year-old boy who's coming, and he's going to be in military gear because, as we found out when we were putting together the 375th party for the town, very young boys went off to war, and so he's going to represent that, and that should be exciting for some of the younger kids. We're also going to have timber framing and blacksmithing over at the Gould Barn, so that's kind of the whole, you kind of go back in time when you go over to that area, other than the modern beer truck. And then we're gonna have new games that we're adding. The games that are there right now are the soccer games for the littles, which is great. We'll still have the bouncy house, but now we're introducing some old-fashioned games that are for the teens and
Hoop and
for
wheel?
the no, not that old.
Not that old.
And
Just stick.
Hoop and stick, I'm sorry.
you're dating yourself, Marcia. And for the adults, that it should be fun. So tug of war, 3-legged race, potato sack, etc. So that will be on the common, and hopefully that will get people laughing and kind of wanting to get involved. And in addition to bragging rights, there will be Gillies gift certificates as prizes. So we're just gonna lure them all in.
No tricycle
You really, I was gonna
races?
say, you really leaned into
tricycles.
bragging rights.
I don't think they had tricycles back then, so
Yeah.
it didn't seem to be going back in
For
time.
those who don't recall, former select board member Lynn Bermudez is three-time
Champion.
tricycle race champion at the Tomato Festival.
It's true.
Yeah.
Let it be remembered.
Presence of grace.
We're also gonna have a popcorn machine, and then I wanted to show you this because we're really excited about this. We put together a historical coloring book of Topsfield. So inside, there are all different pictures of Topsfield of old
cool.
and Topsfield current. And then there's some verbiage at the bottom that explains to the kids and the families about what Topsfield was like. And these beautiful drawings were put together by our very own Slow River Studio.
Oh, wow.
Free of charge. And so we're going to hand these out to all of the kids who come to the festival. We're also giving them to the third graders. There's a historical day that's being put on by 2 of our board members, and they get to take this home. And so and we're also giving it to the preschoolers. I know it's a little young, but this also advertises the festival. There'll be something inside there, advertising that. So that's a new addition. So with all these new things that we're putting together, we want to make sure that everybody knew about it. So we're upping our advertising. I'm getting to my sign, I really am. So we're upping our advertising. So we're going to advertise to the 9 newspapers, at the surrounding newspapers. We're upping our social media presence. And then also, and here it is, the big laid-in. So we'd like to put this hay wagon on the common the 2 weeks prior to the festival. So it would go between the gazebo and High Street. And when I mentioned this to Kevin, he said, "Oh, that sounds fun, but you gotta bring it to the board to make sure you're okay." So this would go in basically the same location that other signs have gone for the holiday festival, that big sign that thanks everyone for supporting the lights, etc. It would be that same location. We did talk to the chiefs and to Captain Bell about whether they saw any difficulty from a visual, a blocking perspective, and they thought it could be situated such that it wouldn't block the sight of any cars. So this is an 18-foot long and about 7.5-foot high wagon, not including the wheels. And we would have 6 smaller signs on them. We didn't want to make one giant sign for 2 reasons. One, this is going to be easier to store. And also you can see through it. So it aids in the visual that you can see the road and the common, etc. So we'd have a 3x4 strawberry shortcake that we always serve at the festival. And then we'd have the name, the Topsfield Strawberry Festival and Craft Fair up at the top. We'd have the date and the time. And then down below, we would have our website so that it's a reminder that this is put on by the Historical Society. So we'd like to get your permission to put this out there. These will be hand-painted signs on wood. They're going to be very pretty and very colorful. So we think, as the police and all of you know, that High Street is very well trafficked with people going to all different towns. So this would be a good advertising vehicle for the festival. To answer any questions.
Have you mentioned this to Gary in case they have the mowing going on in that 2-week period?
No, but I can talk with him because I had called to him. I talked to Kevin and he cleared it, that we're gonna have the flags, the Topsfield and the US flag raised at the beginning to the music of the Proctor Band. And so I will reach out to Gary to ask about the mowing and if that's any issue. But this is on wheels. We can, if they need us to, this is
sure you
coming
can
from
manage it.
Valley View Farm, so.
Yeah, I'm sure you can manage it, just let them know.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good thought, thanks.
The common is gonna be pretty busy that day.
It will be.
And you're still doing your craft and your fair that you always had where people came with their goodies to sell?
Yep, so it'll be the basic festival that we always have, where we have about 50 vendors, craft vendors.
Okay.
And then we have the games. And the popcorn machine doesn't take up a lot. We have the library selling their books. But a lot of the activity, over at Emerson Fields, we're gonna have the strawberry shortcake inside. And then there's the bouncy house on the lawn over there.
Yeah.
And then we have all the old time historical things with the beer truck and the reenactors down at the Gould Barn. So it shouldn't be that much more crowded than what we had before, but we are hoping for even a larger turnout because a lot of people are looking to participate in 250th type activities. So we're going to advertise that we do have a number of things tied into that they can come and see.
Just everybody hope for good weather.
I'm already thinking that.
All right.
So not just a busy day, but we do already have another banner, so we figured out they're not gonna interfere with each other during that time frame.
What is the other banner?
The Tri-Town Pride Parade banner.
I wasn't aware of it. Do they have a location where they were?
Theirs is a banner, so I think just for anybody listening at home, this is talk about a banner, but it's more of a sign.
This
It's
is
not
like
gonna
a
hang, it's
sign.
just
It's not
like
gonna hang, it's
Ms.
gonna be on the
Bermudez just
wagon.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Right, so I think whenever banners go up, they hang between, I don't even remember, right?
Usually
They
it's
hang
tied
at
up.
the very point of the common, kind of
They
between the.
normally do right
Yeah.
down here, yeah.
So I would assume, particularly given that this thing is on wheels and taller, that you would be able to situate it in a way that.
Yeah, we can work with them for sure. Who would be the best person to talk to make sure that we each, don't interfere with each other?
I can connect you to. Okay, I'll take it, yeah.
This is a great logistical question. Who actually puts up the banners and stuff like that
The
when we
applicant.
approve them?
The applicant.
The applicant does, okay.
And if there's any issues,
We can be there that
we
day.
reach out to them and let them know,
We'll
hey,
be there
this
that
is
day.
not gonna stand up or it's not gonna work.
Or don't tie it to that, let's tie it to something
exactly.
else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When does that banner go up?
June first as well.
Okay, same timing.
Yeah,
So,
we'll be there
yeah,
that day.
That'd be great if we could connect.
We can do that.
Okay.
There was something else I wanted to ask.
While he thinks what else he wants to ask, I think this looks cool. I like this idea that you all came up with. And from a purely loophole-y standpoint, I don't think any of your signs are larger than our sign allowances.
They're really
So-
not, but maybe because there's a whole cluster of them
Wider.
and there's a big wagon.
It's wider.
Yeah.
Oh, is it wide? All right, well, I think, I always think back to, before I was on the board, the side of a particular business in town that painted the entire side of their
The
building.
motor company.
I was not going to name them specifically,
I remember it clearly.
but, the board at the time decided it looked good enough that they let it go. So I would say, this definitely fits into that particular, framework.
Mr. Chair, I would just add too, this is in line with what we've previously done for signs on the common, recognizing events in town
Yeah.
that are typically held on public property, so it's very consistent in what we've approved in the past for the purpose of the event.
And I think it's consistent with the event, like it feels more historical than,
I think
you know, a
that-
plastic, not that I'm crapping on anyone's plastic banners, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, but I like the way that this, at least the way it looks like it'll look.
We hope it'll look like that. That's
Yeah.
what we're asking everyone to do.
Are you, is Slow River helping to paint the signs or is
No,
it?
we have someone else who's an artist who works with wood.
That looks awesome.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
I remembered. This is more a question for you. A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, we had some big, we had donated to us some big wooden chicken things,
Oh,
chicken signs,
Roosters. I believe there's-
roosters. Yes, thank you. Would that enhance anything here?
Thank you for the offer.
You've never received them.
They were-
Okay, never
were
mind.
I think if we put up extra big things, we've got like huge fluffy strawberries, we're trying to keep, we kind of have a theme, but
They don't want your.
if we need some roosters,
All right.
I will have,
see us.
who's the contact?
I guess I'm the one wrangling the roosters,
Okay,
so I let us know.
And
okay, thank you.
and this certainly does meet the metric for oversized signage in that it enhances the town.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is an iconic Topsfield event, this is, Topsfield is Strawberry Festival is Topsfield, so
Been doing it
let's advertise.
57, Boyd, this is our 57th festival.
I cooked hot dogs for the Boy Scouts for 20 years at the Boy Scout hot dog stand right in the middle of the common.
I think
For a
Anne is
long
still
time.
soliciting for volunteers, so we're getting nostalgic.
Great.
All right, I'm
I
gonna
know how to
move
cook hot dogs.
to approve the request from the Topsfield Historical Society to place one one event banner at the town common on June 1, 2026, and to be removed no later than June 13th, 2026. That's the day of the event. Is it really gonna go away the day of the event?
Probably. We'll probably take it away at that point
Alright.
because we're gonna have an entire setup from the Society of All Things Strawberry
Yeah,
to
okay.
sell. But when you say one banner,
Yeah, this is more than one banner.
This is structure. Can we just modify it to structure?
Sign structure.
Structure.
To
a hay
place
wagon with
one
the-
event structure at the
Okay.
town common on June 1, 2026, and to be removed no later than June 14th, 2026. I'm gonna give you one extra day. Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's a
might
long
just
day.
wheel it over to the parking lot over there.
So since nobody seconded my first motion, we'll just pretend it never happened, and we adjusted it with my second attempt.
I'll second the second.
All right.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice job, you guys.
And I'm sorry you got rid of the karaoke
I'll,
contest.
I'll
There was
come
gonna
by
be a
anytime, and I'll
karaoke
have the sign in
contest.
for you.
And then you found out about it, so
And
they
then just,
canceled it?
No, Lynn asked me to be
I
a
need to
part of
sign
it.
that?
No,
I
I
was
just need to give
preparing
this to
some
you after I
great
have the
Bon
board
Jovi
sign
stuff.
it,
Oh,
so
yeah,
come by
you would-
anytime.
You would be
whenever.
right there.
Okay, and then I can get the name of the person for the banner.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, it's 2 months from today.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
For all your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming quickly.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next we go to interagency mutual aid for the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council.
So, Mr. Chair, we have Captain Bell again to report on this. So this is, I believe, will be our third year as a member of NEMLAC, which is a regional mutual aid, typically for significant events. We have representation in our department who are part of the NEMLAC team. And as such, we receive NEMLAC services when there's a need from other departments providing resources. Captain Bell's here to maybe talk more and answer questions from the board, but this is the same contract we've approved the last 2 years.
Did they was NEMLEC the conduit for gathering a couple other departments when you raided that operation that was up Route 1 North?
We've used it twice. No, we did have, for that, the FBI and Secret Service were involved with that situation. But we have called out NEMLEC twice in the last year. One was for a domestic situation where someone took off on foot in the woods. I can't say enough about it felt like 20 minutes at 3 o'clock in the morning. We had.
That was the one with the
Yeah, I
helicopter.
think
That was
Over
one-
my
yeah,
house?
yes. That was the state police though, that wasn't NEMLEC, but the state police got involved in that as well, to help us out, which was a huge benefit, but, we used it then, and then we also had a missing child that, luckily was found while NEMLEC was on the way, but the resources that this provides for a small town like us, and I know the chief talked about it too, it's an insurance policy as well. But I can't say enough about the men and women that serve on this committee. And Sergeant Giordano for Topsfield PD is a crisis negotiator. He has been called out to assist, it's Essex County and Middlesex County. He's been called out to assist people in barricaded suspects at least a dozen times in the last year. He does a phenomenal job. He does amazing with de-escalation. So he's part of that team, and does a great job with it. So we are very happy with how NEMLEC has treated us for the last couple of years. It's been a huge service to the town. Even though, of course, we're not using it every day, every week, every month, but the 2 times that we had used it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So we are recommending to continue on with the services of NEMLEC.
And there's no extra funding for this. This is just police departments cooperating.
Yep, everyone cooperating together. There's no additional cost other than what we pay to be part of NEMLEC. Every community in Essex County, other than one right now, is part of NEMLEC. But yeah, anytime like that event that happened in Topsfield with the helicopters out, there was no additional charge to any of those resources, which was some very, very big money, but and it's the same thing, when we send Sergeant Giordano out, it's coming out of our budget as far as the payment goes for him if he's on overtime.
And this mutual aid thing is a two-way street, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And it reminded me a lot of the fire mutual aid, so
Yeah.
similar to that, just on the police. And then just to go back, because I had a similar question about cost, so if you, because I know it talked about the receiver and the sender departments, so if you are called to another department,
Correct.
we'd still pay for you, essentially your salary, but there's no cost to participate for the town,
No, not for the town.
other
Yeah,
than, you know,
it's
covering
coming
your
out
normal
of-
salary and.
Yeah, exactly. So if I were part of the NEMLEC team as part of my salary, whenever I wanted to join, if there was, you know, additional options for that, but take Sergeant Giordano, we're required to have one member, due to the size of our department, one member has to be on a NEMLEC team. There's roughly 8 different teams within NEMLEC that we could join. He's part of the crisis negotiation, so anytime he gets called out for that, if he is off shift, that is just coming out of our budget for overtime for Sergeant Giordano. Yep, so it's no additional cost to.
But I tell you, one pass of a helicopter will tilt it way in the other direction, so.
The school resources that NEMLEC has as well, called the STARS program, is if we were ever to have any event in town here, and it's more, you know, mental health issues and things like that, is like literally nationally known. It's phenomenal. So getting comfort dogs in here, you know, CISM critical incident support teams in here, they're a phone call away, and they'll literally be here, not fabricating. 20 minutes, we'll have teams here to help kids or families, whatever it needs to be.
What are some of the 8 specialty groups?
So they have SWAT teams, they have crisis negotiation, they have school resources, they have bike patrol, motorcycle patrol, escorts, things like that. They've got it all covered. You know, anything that we could think of that we would need resources from, we would call them and they would have a team there for us. It's great.
And I would just add, Topsfield's especially, I think it's important because of the fairgrounds. A lot
Yes.
of activities that happen there throughout the year. A lot of people come into our community as a result of that, and have this resource, if someone was lost or something happened at the event, is significant. It's a big help for our resources.
The chief described a occurrence during the fair where they basically had to get somebody out of a car that was a threat.
Yes.
Does that involve any NEMLEC?
So they were paged out for that as well. By the time they were en route, I should say, we had him out of the vehicle and he was in our custody pretty quickly. And we also had what helped with that situation, we had state police, EOD, the bomb squad there, who staged there throughout the week. And that's exactly who we needed. NEMLEC also has their bomb squad technicians as well, but due to the fact that they were right there at that time, it was perfect timing. Not that it's ever perfect timing, but with the resources that we had there, state police were able to defuse that situation pretty quickly. And we have our K9 as well, Aster, that's EOD certified, so bomb detection. So, but yes, they were called. We have discussed talking with them about staging for the fairgrounds as well. And if they did that, there would be no additional costs to the town at all.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank
It
you.
seems like a critical addition to our public safety.
Yes.
You had mentioned there was one town that doesn't participate. Do you know why? Like, why wouldn't you? This seems like a.
And for complete transparency, we had the same thought process as do. We have a phenomenal relationship with the state police as well. The state police have their specialty teams that can come out and essentially do the same thing. We have worked, especially with the call that happened over the summer with the state police and NEMLEC. They assured us that they work well together, and we've heard it. We've backed up Danvers on a couple calls where NEMLEC and state police were called together. And they are working well together. So this particular agency says, you know what, we have a great relationship with state police, it's not needed. My concern with that at this time, and the chief's concern as well, I don't want to speak for him not being here, but the state police is very shorthanded right now as well. They have a hiring crisis, if you will, and their teams could take up to an hour to get to us, where NEMLEC, every community around here has NEMLEC members other than it's Boxford that doesn't have it. So, and you know, they do obviously neighbor us, but Danvers, Peabody, Middleton, they all have members. That's the time is of the essence, and they get here very quickly.
I think it's a great way to increase the specialty capability for a small town that wouldn't be able to afford all of this.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
When you have an event and several organizations come in to help with that event,
Yes.
who takes control?
Great question. So Topsfield Police would have control over the whole situation.
Yeah.
If we pay into NEMLEC, which we are,
Yeah.
as long as this gets approved, they will then be secondary. They work directly with the chief, myself, whoever is in command with Topsfield. That's where, you know, people try to think, well, then the state police show up, who, do they have jurisdiction over this? In the past, from what we've heard, and I've backed up Danvers in a situation that happened about a year ago, maybe a little longer now. And I witnessed them work together. State police backed off and said, okay, NEMLEC, this is your call once we get the supervisors here from Danvers. It'll always be the town's responsibility, the town's call, as long as the chief, sergeant, captain, lieutenant is there. And then from there, it'll be joint, you know, we call it unified command, joint efforts between each group and, you know, the higher ups making the decisions together.
But you've seen enough of it to know that it works well.
Very well, very well. Yeah,
Good.
egos, happy to say with NEMLEC, egos are out the door. And honestly, in this area, the A Troop with state police, egos are out the door as well. Let's accomplish the mission that we have to do now and all work together. It's a great relationship.
Good story.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion to vote to enter the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, also known as NEMLEC, for mutual aid and assistance and for the chair to sign.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Did you say there was a fee?
We pay, yes, $5,500 that we budget for each year.
Okay, all right, thanks. Sounds like it's well worth it.
Did we just sign that contract recently?
Probably a year ago.
It's an annual contract, so
Yeah.
time goes by quickly.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Captain.
All right.
Anything else? You guys?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
If
you,
you need anything at
Captain.
all, don't hesitate to reach out.
The next item on
Good to
the
see you,
agenda,
man.
we were anticipating talking about the approval of sale of 10 School Ave. I know we didn't get the documents till late. I believe the legal discussions were going on until shortly after lunch or something like that. I know personally, I have not had a chance to look at them, certainly not to spend enough time, so my proposal is that we table this until Wednesday's noon meeting.
So then we'll all come in having read and ready to discuss.
That's the intention, yeah.
That's the idea.
Come in or meet remotely?
I don't know if we've,
Preference?
what got posted,
It was scheduled via Zoom.
so.
I just didn't know what
yeah,
everyone's
Zoom.
schedule looked like.
Are we voting to give one person the authority to sign? Is that what we're doing?
Typically what happens in a transaction like this where a town is selling an asset, in this case a property, the review, there's multiple motions that are on board,
No.
that's right,
So there's one motion.
okay.
Sorry, can
Go
I?
right
There is one motion. It was written by our lawyer. It's authorizing the chair to sign documents if needed, but there are two documents the entire board needs to sign.
So we gotta come in,
I mean, you can,
we just come in randomly during the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's before the
After the
closing.
vote.
The vote before the closing.
When is the closing?
We were scheduled for, we were hoping Wednesday, if we got the material before the weekend. Fortunately, the lawyers weren't able to do it until submitting it today. There's standard documents, you're looking at the deed, there's an easement for the public safety to continue to be able to access from the fire station, which does revert back if anytime that property no longer in the possession of the town, that easement will go away because of the reason why it's being established. But we have no
You
intention of
say if
selling
we
the
sell if we sell the fire department property, the easement goes away,
fire
is that what
station,
you're saying?
because it's intended to allow for public safety access across the property. There's a drainage easement that allows us to be able to go on site, and if there's a drainage issue, be able to adjust it onto the property. A conservation easement to monitor the wetland setbacks and any issues that occur there. And then the settlement statement, which will be the final transaction dollars associated with the deal.
So we are gonna have a Zoom meeting at noon on Wednesday,
Yes.
and then get in here and sign those documents as soon as you can.
Correct.
And these are the final 4 documents that are now on board documents.
Yes, I'm doing my final review. I've had a chance to read some of the documents. I'm comparing against the PNS just to make sure everything ties out. But also wanna make sure, I just had one final conversation with the conservation agent, to make sure they're comfortable with the language as well with the Concom one, so.
So
we
a
wanna make
lot
sure
of checks
all-
going on concurrently.
Right, we feel confident, it's pretty straightforward documentation for a closing, but just wanna make sure everybody, including the board, has a chance to review it and feel comfortable before voting.
And then just for clarification, lot 60
Is
the DPW building.
correct,
And 60A is technically Topsfield property, that's the fire department.
No, that's the option property, isn't it?
That's what I thought at first. 60A is, cause that's
I'd
where
have
the
to-
easement.
I'd have to double check, but I know it's subject to the site, subdivision plan we did back in 2021. We just have to pull the plan to confirm that.
Yeah, we
I
have to
thought the
look
A
at
and
it.
B was the front and back of the option property. No?
That's what I thought as well, but we
Yeah.
pulled out the plan this afternoon.
Oh,
I think the option was actually, I think that's correct, the option property was 30, something else,
35.
35R.
Yeah,
Yeah, the option property is 35R.
And it's already bought that, right?
yes.
That's been transitioned, yes. We transitioned the option. Yeah, so I think that would be intuitively, without a double check, that makes sense that the A, 60 and 60A are those two properties, because that is what we split back in 2020 or 21, which was approved at town meeting.
and are those different maps or the ones that are here online? That say the lot number and all that. When you guys said you looked at it and it was XYZ,
Oh, we looked at ArcGIS through the
Yeah.
website.
that's what. Okay. Okay, so there's nothing I mean, we can discuss all we want, but I'm not ready for a vote on it, so.
No,
This is to buy 10 School Street and approve the easement.
I don't
Well,
think any of us would be ready for a vote yet.
We're selling it, we're not buying
Selling.
it, we already own it.
Well,
We know what
for
we,
Tim to buy.
Correct.
Yes.
Tim's gone through his process for many, many months and has received his final approvals with conservation last Wednesday, so we're now ready to make the transaction. We do need to do some final, we gotta take some of the product out of the buildings before the building gets demoed. We don't know exactly when it could, but it could be sometime probably in May that we'd see potentially some activity happening on site. If not late April.
so if it plays out that we sign it on Wednesday, how long does it take to get a closing date?
If you send us on Wednesday, we'll be going, our attorney, Lee Smith, will be speaking with their attorney, and we'll line up the closing date. It could be that afternoon
Oh, okay.
or Thursday.
And
Yes.
when do we remove the last few items in the building?
So I've had conversations with the fire chief, the Rail Trail Association, Joe Geller. Had conversations with our DPW superintendent, Gary Wilds. Most of the material in there, I shouldn't say most, a lot of the material doesn't really have an owner. It's material that's been stored over 30 years into that space.
It might just get demoed with the
It's a
building.
good chance it might stay with the building as it comes down.
Yeah.
But that's
going
up
down
to
with
Tim and I
shit.
will talk, Tim Collins and I will talk about what the expectations are. We wanna remove though, we'll make sure before anything happens in the next week or two, and we've already been planning for this, that we move now the material temporarily until we go through town meeting, hopefully have the approvals of the additional storage locations, and then we can, over the course of the next few months, then transition from the temporary location to the permanent location for the Rail Trail Association, the fire department particularly.
So
I
he's
would
not
say that
being,
the housing standard of broom swept clean, probably not as important when you're gonna knock the building down.
I hope so, cause there's a lot in there. It might be a dumpster day at some point, and everyone's welcome. We'll get gloves and
Yeah.
we'll have some fun.
Sure, I want one of the bricks
Oh, I like that. Ooh,
She wants a
fundraiser.
brick.
to remember it.
yeah,
I'll add that into the closing docs.
If you find anything of value, the Boy Scout yard sale
Oh,
drop off starts at the end of the month.
I know.
But only if it's valuable.
I know on the second floor
That
there's
can be
some
resold.
1990 vintage street hockey sticks that have been used quite a bit.
Great,
We
we're
can save those.
vintage, yeah.
Vintage.
1990s vintage now?
signed by a Bruin?
He's just calling us all old, is what he's doing. Alright, Okay, so then we would turn to item E on the agenda, which is the annual town meeting and warrant and budget. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think the only thing to discuss though is, we passed around a letter. For the first time, we wrote a select board letter. It started off as just a, how do we make sure we start pointing people to all of the material that's available online? It turned into a, hey, shouldn't the select board say something about this? So it's supposed to be short, to the point, and really just go to the website. Start doing your homework, don't wait for it to come in the mail, and then have it sit on the table. So it's supposed, this letter is just supposed to be kind of kicking off that process, and then we'd start doing like a social media, I don't know if we'd call it a campaign or what, but informational services starting hopefully tomorrow. So the letter's supposed to be very simple, very to the point. It's not necessarily trying to rehash anything that is in the warrant or in the FinCom letter or anything like that. It's just more informational. And then, of course, to thank all the folks that put lots and lots of time into it.
This would go to my first question when it relates to proposed additions is, I feel like that is now duplicative to the FinCom letter, duplicative to the warrant itself, and not what I understood to be the purpose of this letter. So I would agree that I think it should have been, or should be still, the very straightforward, there's a lot to look at, here's where you go to look at it. We shouldn't be doing that in the letter, telling people to go look at stuff.
Yeah, and so if we wanted to shorten it, we could even do that.
If we call out the pension and health insurance, we have 5 things that we felt strongly about mentioning. If we're mentioning 2, does that create an obligation to mention the other 3?
Not
Or
in my
should we just
opinion.
take all of them out?
Those are the 2 biggest drivers, and
By
also,
a lot. I don't know what the percentage number is, but by a lot.
and also those are the common causes across all of the towns around us. So that was the only rationale I think I had for calling those 2 out. So my preference is, if you guys have things to take out of the letter to make it shorter, would be even better. But none of this is a hill I would die on.
It's only 1 page anyway,
That was very purposeful.
I understand.
The only suggested change I had, which I did not give you, which is an easy one, you mentioned the moderator forum, and if we're gonna provide information about that, I would just add the time.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
5:30 to 7:30.
All right. Okay. And then I think the only other thing I'd point out is, even if you guys hate it, I would put this out on my own social media. So it's really more of a, is this a board letter or is this a?
I like your letter, as it was. I don't think it needs any additions.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I was worried that there's probably a lot of people that don't know what a consent agenda is.
We have them every single year at town meeting. We haven't had them to this degree, but we have them literally every single year at
That
town
may
meeting.
be true, but it's not.
No, it is true.
Most people don't focus on elements of town meeting the way we do.
I did like your
Just some-
suggestion on the consent agenda definition. Just a
Oh,
little.
so you're saying we ought to take it out?
No, say what it is.
Okay.
There's another version that says RK edits on it.
Yeah, I
It
saw.
says-
I saw.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna
Suggestions.
I'm not gonna die on the hill, but I was trying to keep it under 400 words, 1 page. Actually, I think I was targeting 375. I was trying to make it simple and sweet, but I don't care.
Well, really, I think it becomes the moderator's job to explain what a consent agenda is.
It's true.
And that should be done every time we get to the point on town meeting where we come to a consent agenda.
I think perhaps people understand consent agendas more than you give them credit for.
Actually, a good point, Boyd. You could actually probably get rid of those last 4 sentences altogether. If we're gonna rely on the moderator to explain the consent agendas.
The
Just take
last
out the
4
consent
sentences?
agenda,
Yeah, just increased use of consent agendas, period.
or take out the consent agenda.
Yeah, just end the sentence after housekeeping items.
No,
Okay,
they're even shorter, look.
that's what I was hoping for.
Just a suggestion,
I like it.
but we have to be guaranteed that it will be clearly discussed at the town meeting by the moderator explaining that we have more and this is what they're about.
And they'll also
Well-
explain it at town meeting.
They'll explain it 5 times, cause they have to explain it before every consent
Right.
agenda.
So I can speak to
And
that.
we've had them in the past, and the moderator always explains how it works.
So we did have a prep meeting, I was gonna talk about my TA updates, but I'll just mention it really quickly that the moderator, myself, Chair of the FinCom, Chair of the Select Board, Captain Bell was here, and the clerk, and myself. And I can say it was spoken significantly about how we are gonna introduce it, how people can pull articles out if they so chose, et cetera. So I think there's a clear path on what that'll look like, and it should be very, very clear of what it is and how it works on the floor of town meeting.
Alright, so, then with those changes, which are stopping it right after housekeeping items and adding at 5:30 at town hall for the moderators forum. Again, I'm all for it. I wrote the letter,
I
so-
think this is a good idea and I'm all for
Yeah,
it. A continued expansion of our trying to communicate with people in different ways.
Yeah, and again,
Inevitably, we'll still hear that we haven't done it, but
yes.
not for lack of trying.
I think it's a good letter. Let's move on.
Alright, do we need to take a vote on that?
It's on your detailed agenda. There's a copy.
Oh.
Vote to support the 2026, I move to vote to support the 2026 annual town meeting letter from the select board as edited.
It's like you knew we were gonna edit that.
Second.
I know, it's wild.
She knows she's right.
Okay, any other discussion on the letter? All those in favor? Aye. Any
Seconded.
opposed?
I do.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
And any abstentions? Okay, just the last thing, again, it is probably just gonna sit there on the webpage, and it's just meant to be an introduction to, hey, everybody, go to the town website, don't wait for the warrant to come if you're that interested.
Since you
Okay,
just said it, can I ask one question?
of course,
So we're pointing people to the website, we
Yes.
just need to make sure that all the omnibus, that's all updated.
So the team has been asked last week, when we went to print to multiple members to check all the links, to check everything, including our former communications coordinator who's still with us while we do the website, and our current communications coordinator. So we will push this out with the edits
Send them to me.
likely tomorrow, and we'll get this out on the social media, but we'll do one last final check on the website prior, just to make sure. And I recommend anyone else who, if you go on, you see anything, let us know too.
I will ask all of us that are on social media, when you see that from the town, disseminate that, because that's how these things work. The more people that engage, is that the right word with it?
That's what
The more
social
people
media
will
is
see
all
it.
about.
I would just add, this is the first time the select board's done this, and I just wanna thank you, cause I think this is a really great letter, that it will point people to the information they need to be informed, and there's nothing more important than having an informed community when they come to town meeting to vote. So I thank you all for that, and we'll make sure we get that up there, and, you know,
Well,
transparency is a really important part of what we do, so.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think the letter provides people with places where they can go to learn how the system works.
That's right.
Whatever they do with it is their business, but at least we've given them a roadmap.
Exactly.
And many meetings for people to come to too,
Yep.
thank you guys.
Okay, was there anything else to discuss on the budget or warrant? I hope not.
Nope, I hope not.
All right.
Are you priming us?
Then let's move over to select board updates, and why don't we just go in order, cause I'm feeling lazy, Mr. Hook.
I will tell you that Mr. Jackson and I were part of a listening session at the library on Saturday. 2 representatives from the Masco School Committee, a representative, the chair, in fact, of the Topsfield Elementary School Committee, a couple citizens, including one who was on the FinCom, and a couple guests. Mr. Jackson, I think you would confirm it was a more robust, energetic conversation than we sometimes have.
The voices got pretty loud and went on for went on for 15 or 20 minutes at least.
One citizen asked us, as the board, and before I even go on, I'll be clear that at no point did Mr. Jackson and I suggest we were speaking for the board in answer to his question about the board, as to whether or not, using his words, even though it's a word I have trouble saying, whether or not we were going to be championing the citizens petition around zoning. And that was animated discussion number one, because I made clear, as I have in this meeting before, that I personally am doing the opposite of championing that particular warrant article. The FinCom voted no action on it for the same reason I'm not in favor of it, which actually has very little to do with the substance of the problem it's trying to fix. It has to do with the fact that I think it subverted the planning board because they took it up and decided not to pursue it, and then the citizens petition came in and put it forward, and I think it was hastily put together. And with something as important as a piece of zoning bylaw, I don't think you can do that hastily and not expect to find unintended consequences. I'll let you speak to anything you may or may not have said during that conversation as well.
Well, pretty much it was clear that we were asked why the Board of Selectmen didn't support that citizen petition. And we made it clear that we didn't think it was our position and we had to support it or not.
We didn't vote plus or minus, did we?
We put it on the.
We had no choice
Yeah, we
but to
have
put
to
it
put
on.
it on.
You
Put it
have
on.
to put it on, yeah.
Yeah.
And we took issue with what the intention of the citizen petition was about. And we told him what we thought the petition was really about. I told him that I thought that petition was about Alfalfa Farm, and that's what they were. That's what the situation was. Marshall asked how many signatures were on that petition, and I think the answer was 16. And then Marshall said, how many of those signatures were people that live on Rowley Bridge Road across the street from Alfalfa Farm? And half of them were people that lived across the street from Alfalfa Farm. So in my opinion, that I rested my case and said, that's what it's all about, in my opinion. He made it clear that he was trying to protect the citizens' rights to privacy, and I said, don't we all do that? Are we all working on that all the time? I mean, that's nothing different than what we one of our major goals. So that was basically it was clear to him that Marshall nor I, neither one of us supported the citizens petition, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and again, based far more on the speed at which it was put together and the possible unintended consequences of it. I think we did discuss at some point that if it had gone through the normal process that a piece of legislation like that does, where a lot of people look at it, and we look at it over the course of months and numerous meetings, that it could still very well be a good piece of bylaw, but you don't throw that together and then slap it onto the town warrant and just hope and cross your fingers that it doesn't have unintended consequences. The other big kind of contentious point was over the DPW truck that got a no action vote from the FinCom. I don't need to detail all of that, other than I just disagreed with the FinCom on their methodology used to get to a no action on that. And we did not end up coming to an eye-to-eye agreement on that. So that was a classic agree to disagree. Things that didn't involve arguments, there was a lot of conversation around Masco funding and the Masco debt authorization. There was a very little amount of discussion due to several outside factors about recent incidents at Masco or recent situations at Masco. The Masco representatives couldn't talk about it, so that made for a very short conversation. And then there was just general people asking questions. So we were, a good hour and a half, and it was filled.
Yeah, and it was pretty verbose most of that time. I will tell you that a really interesting point that's kind of dear to my heart. The chairman of the Topsfield Elementary School Committee, Andrew Prazar, brought up the point that when we were talking about the Masco situation that's recently come up with the 14-year-old girl that we're talking about, he mentioned that the job of the school teacher is getting greater and greater and greater because they're spending more and more and more time raising the kids that the parents are not doing. It was his opinion that the parents are not covering the work that they ought to, and we're having to cover that for them. And the job of the school system is getting larger and larger because of that. I totally agree with that, and with that, I'll rest my case.
That's all for me.
I do have a list, by the way, of all the attendees that were there, if you'd care to look at it and see who was there. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including myself and Mr. Hook.
Do you mind if we segue to Mr. Jackson, since he's already there? All right.
No, he stole my thunder because that's what I was gonna say.
It was a good tag team. You guys did good.
That's never happened before, right?
All right. Easy, then let's go back to Mr. Metz.
So two things. One, there was a fun concert Sunday afternoon upstairs by virtue of Dan Tremblay and the Gould Fund. And Boston University.
I was gonna say, I was not gonna steal your thunder.
Troublemakers.
Yeah.
And that's treble, like the musical notation. Troublemakers. And they had a fun list of songs kind of informally presented, some kind of choral pieces with a lot of syncopation and dynamics changes and tempo changes, and then some ballady type solos and duets. And it had one really outstanding voice. So that was nice. You know, it's continuing a nice tradition of having events upstairs. And it was well attended. Even Lynn was there. But
That's what that
It's
was
almost-
intended to be.
I'd say about 95% of capacity.
Wow.
So it was good.
Wow, that's
And
good.
the acoustics were good, were better than historical. So I think the improvements with the curtains and so forth have helped.
Was the microphone fixed already?
I'm not sure whether they're
They
using
brought their
ours
own
need-
equipment, I imagine.
Okay.
or
Alright.
their own.
We need a
Yeah.
sound system and a microphone.
Yeah, I think they may have been using their own.
Okay.
And then also, our colleague, Michelle, was nice enough to drag me up to the Chamber of Commerce dinner up in Newburyport last week. And we had a good time, and it was actually pretty productive. And our own Kevin Hartunian had a leading role and did a nice job extolling Topsfield's attributes. But there's also mayors from Amesbury and Newburyport, and they've got a lot going on, including converting an old Kmart to housing, another 1,100, 110 unit housing development they have going on. So there's a lot going on down there, and they got talented people leading those groups. But and it always surprises me how much you can get done, or at least how many things you can advance that may or may not get done, just informally. I was able to chat with our representative, Kristen Kasner, while I was there. I caught her and kind of got her to chat with me close to the refreshment line. And she had sent me, I had talked to her assistant. They had sent me some legislation they had going, which they thought addressed this problem we have with the means-tested senior property tax assistance. And it actually didn't. It was actually a very similar phenomenon, only with the deferred tax program, which I think is the 41A program, which we now have. Very similar thing where they defer their taxes, now they can't get the income tax circuit breaker credit. So we chatted about it. We were remarking how similar it was. She said, well, maybe you just add your language for your issue to my bill, and we'll address both of them at the same time. So I said, well, all I've got from you is a PDF. I could handwrite in the edits. She said, we'll send you the Microsoft Word. So I spent Friday morning putting our language into her Microsoft Word bill and sent it back to her. Sent it back to her assistant, really. And they have it. Now, I've been in touch twice since then, just to see if they got it. They think they can use it, and it's kind of crickets, but no response. But, it's another chance to throw some spaghetti against the wall and see if
Another shot at
we
it.
can make it work.
Yep.
And so that was and then she actually got up and got her speech and says, we always want to help everybody and do what we can to advance the interests of all our communities and communicate with everybody. In fact, we just had a nice business discussion in the line by the refreshments. So you got to take the opportunities when you get them. So that's my little update.
Thank you.
I thought we were gonna double up on 2 items, so I'll cover the other one. So on Saturday, Martha Morrison's Grow Spring Expo occurred, and she had close to 50 vendors there. It was quite a success. 2 folks here that volunteered for parking.
You see the sunburn?
Right, Doug had the same sunburn, so I just wanna congratulate Martha on a great event. It was great weather, and it brought a lot of folks to town, so that was a great event.
We bought a bag of spinach.
Oh, from Iron Oaks.
Yeah.
You didn't buy
Farm.
some linguine?
No, we bought spinach
Spinach.
for a lovely salad.
And then I'm just gonna add to the Newburyport Chamber Legislative Dinner that Bob was just talking about. So the VP of the Newburyport Chamber is Tom Rosa, who is a resident in town. So I wanted to thank him for putting on that event and extending the offer to allow 2 of the board to attend. I think that is a great example of where you can get together and hear about what's going on in other towns to get ideas. And it was really nice to hear from, I think we were pretty much the smallest town that was there, that had someone speaking, for sure. But it was just really interesting to hear about other challenges they're having in town and being able to apply it to Topsfield, so it was interesting. Very much appreciative of the invite. And I think that's it.
I thank Tom as well. It was good of him.
Okay. As Mr. Hartunian mentioned, today we met with a cadre of people starting to get discussion about town meeting put together. Lots of focus on the consent agendas, and it seems very imminent that the warrant articles that have negative, what am I trying to say? No action are likely, very, very likely to be pulled out.
Yep.
So that also helped folks avoid confusion, because evidently there were past years where people didn't understand. So it's very likely that those will happen. A lot of talk about those consent agendas. I had to leave early, so I hope the rest of the meeting went well. But things are moving and shaking. There is a lot going on with Masco in the press, things that can be talked about, can't be talked about. The TA and I did discuss what is our role as a select board in this, so just to say we are not ignoring it. And staying plugged in as much as possible, but also recognizing what our role is and is not in these types of situations. So given Topsfield residents are affected by it, but not directly, is I think as close as we're getting to our biggest ability to do anything. And that's all I had.
Oh, can I mention one other thing?
Yes.
I went over to the DPW area and wandered around with Gary and then Greg, and it looks like there might be 2 spots there that are good spots for some solar, ground-mounted solar installations. So I think the next step is to get with Kevin and figure out what the next step is.
Oh, the current DPW building?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the one we're selling.
Oh, no, no, there really are no spots there.
I know.
Don't sign the closing docs, no.
So yeah, there's lots that can be done, and there are local companies that will come in and do these kinds of things for you for no capital up front. They take a portion of the savings. It's not just solar, but it's also insulation, all sorts of stuff, so thanks for looking.
But if we were to actually do something, we'd probably need a town meeting vote, I'm thinking.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine as
Well,
well,
anyway,
but I
something
don't
We
know.
have to see what the type of deal first before we
Depends on
commit
where
to
it
the town
goes.
meeting or not. There might be options. But we would just follow the path that we need to, depending on what we do.
Okay, then over to the TA report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lead off with alfalfa by way of update. Alfalfa is likely gonna be calling in their final inspection for occupancy in the next couple of weeks. I also know that Mike up at Pierce Farm, now known as Evermore, is also submitting permit for the greenhouse, which is another piece of additional work. That project over at Evermore, they've done a phenomenal job renovating the existing footprint, the existing historical buildings. It looks beautiful. We've been up there. The team's been up there. It's doing a great job. Same thing with Alfalfa Farm, preserving a 300-year-old farm, and we're excited for that to be opening up shortly as well. I had Newburyport Chamber on here as well, only to say thank you to the board for coming and being supportive, but also again to Tom Rosa and the entire Newburyport Chamber family for inviting us to be there. As I said in my remarks, we are the smallest community that was represented. Second year in a row we've been able to be a part of the legislative dinner, which we appreciate. Very grateful for that. It's an honor to be able to speak on behalf of the community and this team. But it was really great to say we kept up with those communities, the bigger communities. I say 6,500 strong, and we punch out our weight class. So a lot of good things happening. Proud of the work the team's doing, proud of the support of the community and the work of the select board. So thank you for that. It allows us those opportunities to share some really good stories, and we've got a really good story to tell. Earmarks, I mentioned them at the last meeting just briefly, but I'll just kind of solidify it. Did get word that the $90,000 in earmarks, 95,000 earmarks that the state level for the state budget that we requested. One was for the respirators for the fire department, and the other is for the what's the other one for?
Signs.
Signs, $20,000 for signs have been making their way through the process. And they look like they're in trajectory to be successful, but you never know. But good news there, it's working through the process, and that's in there. We are very grateful for our state delegation and their support every year. It's not always the case, but because of the representation we have, the requests that we put forward have been very successful in the last 5 years. I think that it hasn't been a year where we haven't asked for something and received at least one, if not both, of those items. So we're grateful for those partnerships. And we also submitted, and it was confirmed, I think it was our meeting was on the tail end of submitting it a Friday ago, but the $1.8 million earmark for the PFAS design work. And so that'll be something we'll hopefully find out next week or two.
You said 128 million?
1.8.
1.0.
128 million coming to Topsfield would be a big number.
That would be wonderful.
I could have done that. I just don't know if they would have passed it. Always get asked, but that's a big ask too, and we're really hopeful that our federal delegation will support us in that ask. It does come on the heels of the 1.1 million we did receive last year for the water main work, which we're also grateful for. They just freed up a few weeks ago, so we can start doing some of that work. Spring cleanup is underway, so you'll see the team out there. The sander was out there. I saw him today. We were out at the Pocket Park. Alex is out there doing some really good work. You might notice the mulch is brown, not black this year, but I think it looks great. Alex came up with the idea himself. I said, go with it, Alex. Own this park. It's his park to own. Let's make it beautiful. So he's doing a great job over there, and the team as a whole. It's funny, Gary called me. He's like, can we go with Brown? I'm like, of all the decisions I'll have to make today, this is actually going to be the easiest one. So yes, do whatever makes it
I
happen.
went over and thanked Alex because he was
Well, good.
being meticulous about cleaning up the pocket park. The way he described it to me though is he says, we're gonna put the red mulch down. I was like, oh gosh.
No, that was next. Found the happy medium.
But I didn't say, I said, all right, you think that will look better, but yeah, so I like the brown. It looks nice.
I think it looks really good. And we love giving our team, like when he's very passionate about the work he does.
He
He's
is.
passionate about about owning that space and making sure it's beautiful. And so we said, yeah, a little put your own flavor on it, just not too extreme like red. So we're grateful for that. Just continuation of HR updates. We're continuing to collective bargaining negotiations with the full-time fire, call fire, and DPW. We've been meeting the last few weeks, almost weekly. About midway through the process, I'd say, on each. But we'll certainly update the board, likely maybe in a couple weeks at our next meeting. Because hopefully we have a couple meetings with each of them before then. We'll give you all an update and possibly executive session if necessary if we're making that much headway. And then our new rec coordinator started today. Lulu, she's started today. She's on crutches. Come see her. She's not moving very fast, so she can't run away from you. But she's gonna do a great job. We're excited to have her. She's got a marketing background, a lot of social media components to what she's passionate about. So excited to take the rec and expanding it out so people know what we're doing. Because we do such great work inside. A lot of times the challenge is then picking our heads up and celebrating the wins. I think she's going to do a really great job celebrating the great things that the TAA are doing, with the Topsfield Cultural Council, etc.
Would this be the second year for the camp?
This will be year 2 coming.
Is that
Yep.
progressing towards?
Yep, that's a good segue. I can mention that. So Bill King, the president of TA, and I met week and a half ago, I think. Just touching base. We had a debrief meeting at the end of last season. We had a second meeting about 2 months ago with the whole team. Everything's progressing in a good way, and Lou will be there to support the effort as well. So we're excited. We're very excited to have her. Her with Noelle starting the week prior as our communications coordinator. We're really rounding out the team, which is exciting.
I would like to make a request on Lulu's behalf. Can we get her a new calendar?
A new what?
Calendar? The calendar hanging on her wall is August 2025.
It's been a while since we've had a person in that office. We certainly can do that, yes.
Thank you.
Is
I'll
that
let her
in the
pick it out.
budget?
I think I have an extra co-op one.
Everybody's got a couple extra calendars kicking
Quick
around.
question on the camp.
Yes.
That was such a success last year. Are they expecting or planning to expand it or keeping it the same?
So they, a lot of similarities. The fee is still the same, which
Okay.
is one of the least expensive options for kids in camps in the area. I know from experience. And they opened up enrollment I think a week and a half ago, and it's basically sold out. I think the last week of August last week of it, mid-August, was the only one that had 1 or 2 seats left a week and a half ago. So it's been very popular. I think price helps. I think the leadership of TAA and the team that we have on the ground was really successful last year. The kids enjoyed it. I think we're seeing that. That's why it's being filled up so quickly.
They did change the hours
They did.
Till
to
12.
avoid lunch,
Oh, gotcha.
so that you don't have to worry about peanut allergies and kids who forgot lunch. And
That was an easy one to modify. I think we learned pretty much on day one that was probably not something we want to continue, but last year, and it makes good sense to not. So it's the one less hour of camp.
They also, I think last year it was the ages, I think it started off at 4, but they bumped it up to 5. The 4s were just a little too little
Yes.
to be there, so they brought that number up to 5.
and we approved it, I think 2 months ago. We did something with it. We voted on something.
I think we accepted the final money.
We accepted the reconciliation because we do receive 30% of the proceeds
That was last year's money.
of last year.
We'll always take the money.
So we
Right.
should be getting donations.
And
How much was
that goes into the rec revolving fund.
You recall how much it was?
I think when it was reconciled, it was like 30%. I want to say it was like 6,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7, but
Well, that's
yes.
pretty good.
Yeah, but it's careful balancing too. You know, we want to be able to have that available money, but obviously we want to make sure it's affordable for people in our community
Yeah,
too. So,
you don't wanna starve the program
Right.
with working capital either.
and I think a lot of that learning, we were very conservative last year because we had to be on the right side of this. We had to be in the black. I think now knowing what the costs are, we have a couple additional expansions of programming. I think there's an ice cream truck coming one day, for example, things of that nature. So
What day is that?
Yeah,
Thursdays.
I'll be there too. It's gonna be warm. Town meeting prep. We touched a little bit about that. The next month will be a sprint. Our warrants went to the print a week and a half ago. Do anticipate getting them back this week and getting them out before the end of the week, as long as they're back in time. Accompanying that is the annual report, which we have available at town meeting for people to take home as well. Thank you for the board putting the message together that you went over and approved. Departments have all submitted, so the annual report's going as well. We have the moderator forum, which you talked about earlier, and we have that open door policy. I just want to emphasize that as people receive their warrants, and I'll just re-emphasize a point I made earlier, an informed voter is a powerful voter. We want to make sure if you have questions, concerns, ideas, our doors are open. Email me, walk through that door, call the office, we'll make sure we're available. And I know we do the listening sessions. We have our meetings here. Really encourage people as they pick up those warrants to engage us, so that they have what they need when they go to town meeting. So appreciate the team's work. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody. It's a number of months that the department heads and their staff put into this, as well as the select board, as well as the volunteers like the FinCom and others. I think this process was a very, very robust and detailed oriented process, and that allows us when we go to town meeting to be very informed, very thoughtful in what we're producing and presenting to the community to vote on. So grateful for everybody's effort. It is a relief that we're not editing the warrant any longer, and it is out in the print though.
It's done.
There's no going back.
Once it goes to the printer,
It's
we're done.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question on the warrant booklet?
Of course.
So, we mail one to every resident, right? Residence. Household. But there are some households where people attend separately for whatever reason. You know, maybe one of them's on one of the many, many boards and committees and whatever it is.
Yep.
Are there extra copies available that people can pick up, and how many do we make?
So
How many
yes,
extras do we make?
I would recommend if you receive one and you want the other, you need a second version, you need to come down here. We'll have some copies on hand, but you can always read our letter that we'll be pushing out with a link to the website where a warrant will be located as well, so you can electronically access it anytime. So you can get it electronically, print it, view it, come here and pick one up as well. And there are always ones available at town meeting when people join us as well.
There's probably gonna be 125 at town meeting that we'll have.
Okay.
We'll have
And
plenty.
they're always available at town meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have
Stacks of
stacks at town meeting. We'll have them here prior to. We'll have them at the moderator forum. We'll have them anytime anybody wants them. They walk through that door, come to our office. We'll have some ready for you if you want to take it home.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll mention before I hand it back to Member Mercer-Link, if she
Thank
so
you.
like, is this Friday. Thank you to Joe Geller. We're going to actually be hosting the Essex Heritage networking event upstairs from 9 to 10. Event actually opens at 8:30 for networking, but the speaking parts start at 9 through 10 o'clock is my understanding. They usually rotate, but it's great to be able to, again, use that space in a really productive way. And we love our partners at Essex Heritage and the work that Joe Geller does as a member of that group and representative of Topsfield as well. So grateful for everybody's efforts and collaboration.
There was
I'll
one
allow
thing
it.
I forgot to
I'll allow
mention, if I could.
Yep.
Thank you. So, on Saturday afternoon, for those that may have missed this, there was an event, I'll say, at the Congregational Church called Beyond the Headlines, a Community Conversation on Immigration. If you didn't have a chance to make it, they did record it and you can watch the video. But they had, a retired immigration attorney, they had the DA of Essex County, and they had two individuals, who had immigrated to the United States. One lives in Maine, and one was our very own Umesh Buju, who owns Zoomies. And this was a great gathering. This was very informative, and they gave examples. So Abdi Noor Iftin and Umesh Buju both gave examples of, because they are immigrants, things that they worry about today that you would never have thought that they would need to worry about as naturalized US citizens. And I'll just go out and say that Topsfield is a better place because of what Umesh and his family bring to this town. He brings a sense of community, he adds to the community, we are a better community because of him. So I just want to thank those that coordinated this through the Congregational Church for having this event, and for the folks that attended to provide additional information to help us understand more about immigration and what it's like to be an immigrant to the United States. So it was very helpful, and I'm grateful that they had this. That's it.
Sounds good.
Okay. We're good?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, all right, for correspondence, we've got a couple of thank yous for the fire department. Always doing good work and getting the praise that they deserve. That's all I have. Any final comments or motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned, 8:20.